Hi, this is Mark of the Wicked Edge Experts Corner, and what I'm doing is showing you why I use riser blocks. What I have here is a practice knife clamped in the Wicked Edge dual cam vise on my new Gen 4 Pro, and I have this knife clamped high up in the vise as I can, how I would sharpen it, with the stone resting on the knife. I have adjusted my angles to bring the stone in to a bevel angle as narrow as I can. Set this wicked edge with this knife at this position. Right now I'm achieving a 16.3 degree setting, and if I try to go like this, I'm hitting the stone, just hitting the stone against the vise. If I back it off a little bit, now I'm getting up to the edge. So I'm about 16.6 degrees to start with the stone on the knife and the cube. Now you'll notice this stone is bottomed out on the guide rod pivot, and it is above the knife edge. The knife edge is down here. The stone is about an inch above the knife edge. The resting stone has an inch of length above the knife edge when it's resting on the pivot in the normal configuration. Now I'm going to take this vise from the pedestal, from the mounting plate, and I'm going to add a 1-inch riser block to change the geometry. It's going to raise the clamped knife up 1 more inch relative to the ball and swivels. And we're going to get started with that right now. First thing that I'm going to do is take the stone off, remove the knife, take the guide rods loose, and then what we're going to do is we're going to remove the micro adjusters from both sides. Takes a 1/8 inch hex screw from the back into the rotating knob. You release the hex screw from the back with the 1/8 inch tool, and that screw has a flat washer on it, a screw with a flat washer, and there is a bushing in there that is beveled on the top, and it goes bevel side in. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to remove the adjuster screw on the knob. It's a pinion gear, brass pinion gear, and there are 2 little O-rings. And then I'm going to slide the bracket off and remove it. There is a little plastic ball, the brake ball that I grabbed when it fell out, and that is for locking the position on the swivel end. Now we're going to go to the other side. On the other side, I'm going to work a little faster. I'm going to take the screw out, the brake screw out of the top to start with this time. With the 1/8 inch hex, I'm going to the back side. I'm going to remove the adjuster screw all the way out from the back. Again, it's a 1/8 inch hex. I have the screw, I have the brass bushing and the washer. The knob comes out the front, and the end slides out, and we have the little white brake ball. Okay, now with the ends removed, I'm going to start in the widest set position with the end bracket spread. There are 4 flathead screws in the top. They are also 1/8 inch. I'm going to remove the 4 screws, set them aside. I'm trying to work with you in real time so you can see exactly what's involved, the time involved, the effort, the fumbles that I have, so that you know what to expect. There's 3 screws on the top and 1 more. Again, that's the 1/8 inch hex tool. And there's the last screw. Now the top plate lifts right off the top, exposing the end brackets. And here's the vise. The Wicked Edge dual cam vise on the Gen 4 Pro is elevated by a triangular or pyramid shaped riser block. It is attached from underneath. This is the adjuster handle, and the adjuster handle is attached by 1 center screw underneath, and we're going to use a 1/8 inch hex tool. We're going to remove that unique center screw. Don't lose that center screw because there's nothing else like it. I'm going to set this over here, and now we have the 2 they're countersunk holes, and they position that vise exactly where it needs to be to work with this Wicked Edge setup. Now, from the top, while I'm holding the vise like a handle, I'm balancing this on the top, and I'm going to loosen up these screws. First one, and then the other. I'm balancing this plate so as not to drop it. And there we go. The second screw is out and the plate comes off. And then we have the vise in our hand on the slanted pedestal base. There are 2 screws underneath. They are hex cap screws. These are 5/32 is the hex tool. And then I'm going to loosen these up. Now I'm going to work these 2 screws. Understand, you can see in here the brass top of the piston, and there is a spring array of Belleville washers underneath here that's compressed. Right now the handle is lifted, it's slanted up to take compression off of it. And as I unscrew this, I'm going to go back and forth from screw to screw, because there is pressure as those Belleville washers are compressed. And I'm going to go to the other side and try and back it off side to side to keep the pressure even as it releases that pressure on the Belleville washer. Now I feel the compression is released, and now the screws will come out easily. I'm holding it in my hand all together because this, as you can see, the space is getting bigger as it's trying to come apart. Now inside of there is that stacked array of Belleville washers, and as soon as the screws are loose enough, I'm going to turn this right side up in my hand as I lift the vise off of the array. Now it's got a couple threads hanging. Let me see, a couple more threads hanging. And there we go. The vise is off. And here is the pyramid-shaped array. There's the screw. The screw is a 1.5 inch long cap screw. And inside of here is the can that holds the Belleville washer array, and that is 6 stacked washers. Belleville washers are cupped washers, and they are cupped together. The bottom one is cupped down, then it's cupped pairs for 5 pairs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the top one is cupped up. So we have a cup up, a cup down, and pairs in between. This lifts out of the pyramid riser. We're going to use that again. Now we move it to the dug riser, and it fits right in there, and it sits just above the top. And we're looking to put the slot in line with the screw holes. The vise is going to sit right in there, and the riser is going to go on the bottom. The little notch side goes to the front, and that all fits together. It's all notched so it insets together. And then we're going to take the included screws. These are 1032 by 2.5 inch. We're going to insert them up from the bottom. It's going through the pyramid riser, through the dug riser, into the dual cam vise. I'm going to hold it at a slant like this, and again, we're going to start one side and then start the other side. Then we're going to go back and forth and keep working it back and forth to make sure that we get these screws started and get the compression going. And then we're going to go over it back and forth. This is a Phillips screwdriver for the 1032 stainless steel pan head Phillips screws. And as I tighten it, these gaps are tightening up as everything, and this is inset. Everything is inset and comes together. And I'm going to go back and forth. It'll get tight at the end when it starts to compress everything up again. I just heard something fall. And there we go. And one more. There we go. Okay, I heard the jaw pin come out, and that's a good thing. I'd rather them be loose than tight. And now the jaw is working, and it is a riser. You can see the piston here, and if I can get, there's the top of the piston, the riser, and the pyramid. And then this gets lined up from the bottom. We take a flathead screw, we'll hold it here, balance it on our hand, line up the screw hole, get it started. Then we got the other side, swivel it, line it up. These are countersunk screws. They're precisely drilled. The vise will line up exactly where it needs to be positioned. Any slight micro movement of the vise is going to be adjusted through the micro angle adjuster, so you don't have to worry if the vise is not exactly perfect. It's all taken care of with the micro angle adjusters when you're working with your angle cubes. Okay, now I'm screwing back on the adjuster handle. And now we have the vise with the riser. Everything is in place. I move the adjuster handle out to the widest setting with the brackets spread apart. By the way this is open now, that's how you would maintain it, service it. You'd have to take this apart, open this up, whatever's in here, I would wipe out. I would use a silicone cloth and a can of air, and maybe use a dry lubricant at the end on this and put it all back together. Drop the top plate on the top, and the brackets, you'll have to just move them in a little bit until it falls flat. Then you take your screws and get your screws started. I'm not quite in line there. There we go. Okay. First one's always the toughest. Then I'm going to come over here to this side and get it started. Once I have 2 screws started, I'm going to hold the plate flat on the top and I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to hold the detent button and rotate it. Make sure that the brackets are sliding. Everything went from full low angle 12 degree to 28 degree on the top side. Then I'm going to tighten up these screws, get the next 2 in the front, and then we're going to move back on to reinstalling the micro angle adjusters. Again, the flat screw, I got that just hand tight, and after I hand tighten them all, then I'm going to go crisscross and make sure that they are tight. Okay, that's tight, and this is working fine. Okay, now we're going to take the micro angle adjuster from the outside. We get it started, it slides right on. The second one from the outside, we get it started and it slides right in the track. The track is built into the undersides of the end bracket. And you got to get it slanted and level, side to side and level. Okay, then I'm going to take the pinion knob. I'm going to insert that, engage the gear. The bushing goes from the back side over that adjuster screw, and the beveled side goes facing in. That goes in first, and then we're going to start this screw. And the screw has that flat washer on it. There we go. And again, that's 1/8 inch. And when we tighten these up, we want to put some pressure on them. If they roll too loose, the adjuster's pinion gear may feel as though it chatters. So it's better to have a little bit of a backlash on it for adjustment's sake. You're not rolling it a lot. You're just rolling it a micro amount to get that last little bit of an angle. And then we have the brass bushing with the beveled end goes in, the screw goes through the bushing and into the adjuster knob. And then with the 1/8 inch hex, I'm going to tighten it up, and you'll see the bushing compress up inside as it squeezes on those O-rings, and that's the tensioning. And you can play with this tension any way you want. I like a little backlash on it. I'm going to put the white brake puck in, the second brake puck in, the locking knob. Okay, when the locking knob is in, this is tight, it doesn't move, it doesn't wobble. On this side you can see it moves and it wobbles, and when you put the locking knob in, it tightens that white brake puck. Hello, there we go. Tightens it up and it takes all the wobble out and all the swivel out. Okay, so now we're all set. And we're going to put the guide rods back on, and that is the installation on the riser block on the Gen 4 Pro. And I'm going to come back to you in a minute, and we're going to check out that angle now and see what the efficiency of the stones are with the riser block, and we're going to look at our minimum angle before we can contact our vise to see if we have any improvement. Be back soon.